Plant the seed for a lifetime of imagination. The Daddy Bag of Books is available at daddyandcompany.com.
Welcome to My Life as a Dad. Today's guest is John Ondrasik, famous singer, songwriter, producer, creator of Five for Fighting, but more importantly than that, a dad of two. We all know any man can be a father, but it takes someone special to be the dad.
Hey, Robert.
Welcome, John.
Thanks
nice
for
to have you here.
Happy to be here.
Awesome. So tell me, let's just jump right into the 14 and a 12-year-old.
Yes.
You've got to be right in the middle of social media craziness.
Chaos.
And how do you deal with that? A lot of us didn't grow up with that.
Sure.
And now we're going to be experiencing that. So what are you doing with Facebook and Twitter with your kids?
You know, it's certainly different than when we grew up. You know, the end of the innocence comes much earlier now for children. And that scares me as a dad. And I didn't really realize, you know, how bad it can be till your kids hit 11, 12, 13. It's not just the social media, the Instagrams, the bullying, but they're just exposed to everything on the internet. Mm-hmm. So I think you have to be careful, and you also have to realize you can't monitor everything. And I've had some issues, you know, with my kids, with some of the bullying, and we've gone to certain steps of taking the phone when you get home. Sometimes I think you have to, depending on the kid, and once you're aware of what's going on. I mean, it's different from kid to kid. My son, he could care less about what anything thinks of him. Mm-hmm. You know, he's fine with his phone. He doesn't do a lot of the interaction beyond putting on his headphone and playing Call of Duty with his buddies, right? So he's good. But the girls, it's harder, and girls can be pretty brutal. Mm-hmm. And so we've taken some steps.
Is your older the girl?
My daughter's 12.
Okay, so you're the younger one.
Yeah, she's younger. Okay. And so we've had to, you know, let's put the phone away on the weekends and just kind of get away from it. We didn't have that ability to know where everyone was, what everybody was doing. And so for us, we've kind of done that, and it's helped a lot. I think and as she gets older too, I think she puts things more in perspective, but it's hard when you're 12.
Hard, and hard to be a girl when you're 12.
Brutal.
A lot of our dads are newer dads, or they're watching the show or have
Yeah.
the young kids. They're not having the teenagers.
Yeah.
So is texting acceptable? What is your mode of communication when you are on the road, and how are you balancing that?
Well, you know, when I first started having success, my kids were very young. They were 2-3 years old, and I was on the road a lot. And it just so happened that's just when Skype kind of came in.
Okay.
So it was perfect. And we can talk about this later, about how do you balance being away from home and being a dad. Mm-hmm. But having that kind of interaction really saved me. Being able to see their face. It's one thing talking on the phone, but it's another thing being able to call and do homework for an hour in the back of a tour bus.
You did that?
Yeah,
of
course.
Good.
And I think that's one point where technology is so wonderful for fathers these days who travel a lot. Mm-hmm. Even if it's, now you can do FaceTime on your iPhones. Back then we didn't have that.
Right.
Texting is great because I text my kids a lot. As much as I love to call them 7-8 times a day, they don't want to talk to daddy 8 times a day. But you know what? They'll text me what they're doing.
Right.
I can leave a text saying, good morning, have a great day at school the night before, knowing that they will get it. So it's a way to stay connected. But I also kind of had a rule of, you know, I have to talk to the kids every night, mm-hmm. at least once, whether it's before a gig, after a gig. But technology in that retrospect has been wonderful. And I still use it. And the kids like it, and they're used to it, and they're comfortable with it, and it's great.
My life as a dad.
Any man can be a father, but it takes someone special to be the daddy. Please join us by subscribing to our YouTube channel. If you have a favorite celebrity or athlete dad that you'd like to see on the show, please give us a comment below. Sponsored by Daddy and Company, the perfect gifts for dad. Get 15% off your next purchase at daddyandcompany.com using promo code MLAAD15.